Hi, I'm Meghan Leathers. I'm sitting here with Elias, and we're going to be talking about Kevin Can F himself on AMC and streaming on AMC Plus. Check it out.
Megan, welcome to the cave.
Hi, Elias. How you doing?
Good. How's your day going?
Great. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood where I'm at right now. So sun's shining, can't complain.
Yeah, where are you these days?
I'm currently in Los Angeles. I moved here as COVID started to loosen up, but I'm traveling right now. So I'm in Tahoe and it is beautiful. Yeah.
So exciting times for you. You have a new show that you can watch it early on AMC.
Mm-hmm.
Kevin Can F himself, and it's also premiering, I believe, June 20th, 21st, around there on AMC.
20th, yeah.
Yeah, so you have that, and I was can't wait till we dive into that. But when I was doing some research on, I noticed you started acting around 2011. Is that right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I've been acting pretty much my whole life, but I guess as soon as I graduated college, I just sort of moved to New York City and hopped right into it.
Wow.
And just started auditioning and working a little bit here or there in theater, and eventually went to grad school. And then after grad school, I found some success in television and off we
Wow.
went.
So, what made you
Yeah.
like fall in love with acting? What made you pursue it? Did you have any backup plans if you didn't think this was going to work out for you?
Yeah, I had no backup plan. I you can't like, if you're an actor, you have to do it because you're obsessed with it. Oh,
Yeah,
Siri just popped up. Can you hear me?
yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah. So if you're an actor, you just have to dive right in because it's an insane career. There's no stability. It's jobs are all over the place, and you have to do it because you can't find anything else that holds your interest in quite the same way. And
Mhm.
that's it. I tried. I had a bunch of different internships in college in like marketing and different theaters behind the scenes, and a couple film internships in production. And I just always was using my time on the computer to seek out auditions
Yeah.
and look up different workshops and classes. So I couldn't tear myself away from acting and
Wow.
seeking out acting opportunities.
What were some of
So
your
no
favorite
backup
like
plan.
no backup plan? What were like actually when you told your family this is what you were gonna do? Like, what was like their reaction? Did they like try to push
They
you
were
away from
great.
it or
No, they were great.
yeah?
My parents were amazing. They were like, listen, they are not arts inclined really. And they were just like, go for it. We can't offer any advice because we don't do that. But if you're going to do it, you better put your best foot forward and 100% effort in. And we got your back. But
It's great.
that's pretty much it. I just sort of went for it.
Growing up, what were like some of your favorite like TV shows and films that you fell in love with?
Um, I loved, this is so nerdy, but I loved Lord of the Rings. It so captured. I'd read all the books and I went and saw a midnight screening of The Fellowship of the Ring, and it just like captured my imagination. It was so exciting and fun and beautiful. And the costumes and production and everything was shot in New Zealand and it was gorgeous. And I was just like, oh man, I was that nerd who watched the documentaries about it. And I was like, man, to be an actor, to move to New Zealand for 2 years or whatever, to just film, and on your spare time you got to go bungee jumping and skydiving and
Right.
riding horses and digging into this thick text that Tolkien created, this full world with a whole other language. Like, it's what an opportunity and experience.
Wow.
So that really kind of changed the game for me. I was like, I want to do that. I want
That's awesome.
that.
And the travel, like who could say no to
Exactly.
traveling?
Exactly. It's a way to see the world. So
Right.
yeah.
I noticed last year you had a role on Apple TV's For All Mankind. Tell us about that.
Yeah.
You had a big role in that.
Yeah. So that was I graduated from my MFA program, grad school, and about 3 months later, I booked this show on For All Mankind, on Apple TV. That is For All Mankind, and got a season out, and I had a smaller role, and it sort of developed into a bigger role in the second season. And it was baptism by fire because I had never done TV, and I just learned on my feet, and kind of it was a little scary, but it was like, what an opportunity. How lucky am I to have been able to just get thrown into the deep end in that way and just dig into this meaty drama of a show. So yeah, it was a great experience.
And how
the
cool
cast
was it?
amazing.
And it was cool because you were like one of the first for that show, one of the first shows that launched on Apple TV.
Yeah, that's right. So everyone was all geared up and excited and like, what is this? What's this going to be? And it was an exciting time for sure. Everyone was
how cool was it seeing yourself on a kind of streaming platform for one of the first times?
It was wild. I couldn't handle it. I was just like, what is going on? What is my face doing? It took me a couple of like watches before I could kind of settle into seeing myself. But yeah, it was really cool. And it's a period piece. So it was fun to like be behind the scenes and see like, see my co-workers and co-stars act in person, and then to see this whole world built in the 1960s just sort of come to life through editing and production, and just sort of seeing how this whole beautiful world has been created through production.
That's awesome. And now you have a new show on AMC. You have a role, and that's it's funny because like I mentioned to you earlier, I watched the first episode last night, and it's not out yet, but Kevin Can F himself. It's like, I remember months ago there was articles coming out on this, and I'm like, wait, is this the new Kevin James show? Kevin James, because that's where they were like piecing that off to, and you had to read more about it. And it's like, how, like, first of all, how exciting was this project for you? And second, like, how do you describe the show to someone?
Yeah, it's hard to describe because they'll say like, yeah, it's half multicam, half single cam. And then I'll see the question mark on their face. And I'm like, okay, so it's actually, it's half sitcom, half like drama, like The Walking Dead or Mad Men. And then there's still kind of a question mark on someone's face because they're like, I don't understand what that means. So basically, I say they're breaking the formula of the sitcom life. And they're, sorry, again, there's something going on with my headphones. I'm so sorry.
Okay.
But they're breaking they're breaking the formula of the sitcom life. So what happens when she goes into another room off this laugh set, this sort of flat one-dimensional set, and we see this woman's reality after she's been mocked and bossed around by her husband, who's not that impressive, and she's this beautiful, accomplished woman. What happens when she goes into the kitchen? Is she upset? Is she annoyed? Does she hate him? Is she satisfied with her life? So that was super, super exciting for me when I read the script. I was like, all the sitcom scenes were in italics, and I was like, what is happening? And the wheels started turning, and eventually, because it's explained at the beginning of the pilot, but as you're reading, you're seeing what Valerie, who created the show, is doing, and it's so interesting. And yeah, that project just kind of fell into my lap. It was in the middle of COVID. No one knew what was going on, and I had moved from New York to Boston to be with family because COVID was a crazy time, and it was filming in Boston, and my manager called me. He's like, I have this audition for you. It's filming in Boston. Give it a look. And I auditioned, and a couple weeks later found out I got it and was thrilled.
Wow.
And it was.
Did you go in for Jenn?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, for Jenn. Yeah.
You mentioned you have family in Boston. Are you from Boston?
Yeah, I grew up in Boston.
Okay, I'm from Massachusetts. That's why.
Hey. What?
Yeah. I'm from Western Mass.
Where are you living?
East Long Meadow.
You don't have to
Springfield.
say.
It's okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So it was cool that you actually filmed, because I had a question. My question was like, did you actually film this in like the Worcester, Boston area? Like,
yeah. So we didn't. It's set in Worcester, but we didn't film there. We filmed in close in the South Shore, in different areas, like in this giant warehouse in the South Shore, which was so fun because I got to commute to work. And usually for All Mankind, I'd fly to work. I'd fly from New York all the way to LA and stay in a hotel and then fly back. And this was just get in the car. 20 minutes later, I'm there.
That's awesome.
Walk into this warehouse, and it's just this whole world as soon as you walk in with all these sets. It was great. It was so fun.
Wow. So yeah, because like one of the first episodes, you actually see, you see a Dunkin'. I'm like, oh, I wonder if they did they just put that in there, or did they actually film? So it's kind of cool, like how for you it was great, because it's like you said, 20-minute ride. You can't complain about that.
I truly lucked out so hard. It's like, given COVID and the state of the world and actors in COVID and the industry sort of totally reconfiguring, I really sort of landed a win here.
So okay, so you play Jenn. Like I said, you mentioned earlier off air that you're not on until season 3. So like, how do you describe episode 3? How do you describe her?
Yeah, Jen's great. So in For All Mankind, I play the bartender Pam, who is she's kind of a tomboy. She's a bit of an outsider. She's quiet. She's queer. She's a poet. She's very artsy. She's just really sort of, in some ways, I really identify with that character, and just she's very introspective. And Jenn is the opposite, which was so fun. Jenn is every chick I grew up with. She is pulled together. She is friendly and social and has the social niceties down pat. She is smart and adept and is just polished and pulled together. And she is the foil for Allison, played by Annie Murphy, who is the sitcom wife whose life is like kind of falling apart, who always has a stain on her sweater and mascara all over her face. Jenn is coiffed. So so Jenn is the wife of Allison's ex-boyfriend, kind of. So she's, I guess, sort of a romantic rival without giving anything away. But yeah, so it was really fun to just think about all the Massachusetts, the dark jeans, high boots, pulled together sweater, lots of sparkly jewelry, blown out hair. Like, that is who I grew up with. And it was so fun to play someone I feel like I knew, but who's not me. And did you have to different from Pam.
Did you have to throw out the accent too? Because I noticed the cast members had the accent. They had to add the accent. Like, did you have to do that for your character?
No, Jenn does not have the accent, which I was kind of thankful for, because I can kind of do it. But Bostonians, they're so tough on people who try to do the accent and don't nail it. So I was a little anxious. And then they were like, no, Jenn doesn't have it. Jenn is a little more upper middle class and hasn't develop that accent. So
is the character Jenn based out of Massachusetts? Because I know the husband goes to New York and then comes back.
Mm-hmm. She's based out of Massachusetts. So she and her husband went to a fancier prep school together.
Oh, okay.
In high school, and then they went to college together and sort of married and just together forever. So yeah.
So you mentioned Annie Murphy, and obviously Eric Peterson's in it too, and Alex, and how is it working with that cast?
So I barely worked with Eric, and I didn't work with Alex. So that was funny. I live mostly in the single cam world, so the drama world. Jenn appears only briefly in the sitcom world, and that was a trip just to switch tactics and switch acting tactics and behave in this sort of exaggerated way for the sitcom episode that I'm in. But yeah, I mostly worked with Ray and Annie, and it was great. It was so fun. She is hilarious. She's a riot. She's eager to play around and improvise and try new things. And we just sort of, all of our scenes are very awkward. It's just a lot of awkward, trying to two women that are trying to meet on the same level and trying to be friends, but don't really want to be friends. And just sort of trying to meet and missing over and over again.
Uh,
So that was fun to play because that shit is real. You know what I mean? Like, so yeah, so
Yeah.
that was really fun.
And I also noticed that this show, you know, like you mentioned, like it's like, you know, you think it's a sitcom and it's also a drama, but it's also like a 45-minute episode. It's not like your typical 30-minute sitcom.
Right, right. Yeah, no, it's thick. It's like a thick, heavy show, and there's a lot going on, and it's it was fun to read, and I'm excited to see it play out, but it just sort of gets more and more complicated and like scratchy as the characters fall in each other's world, and the frame starts to fracture and break. And that's what's so interesting about this show and this series and the season, is that it starts off pretty standard, that like clear cut sitcom world, Allison's reality single cam world, and it just, you see the foundation just rock and rock and rock, and there's just pressure and pressure and pressure, and it just explodes in the end. And so it's really exciting. It's definitely a slow burn, and it's worth it.
I noticed they filmed 8 episodes so far. Is that the season 1 is 8 episodes? Is that how it's going to be? Or are they okay? Any have you heard any reviews yet or anything from people that have seen it? What their thoughts of it so far?
Only friends and family. I don't read reviews. I'm one of those actors. I just don't do it. But yeah, I think you know, they're my friends and family, but they like it. It's I think they're just really excited. Like they have noticed, and you did as well, like, as the show goes, it starts to just sort of crumble. And that tension, I think, is fun to watch, especially as it sort of builds through each episode and you start to get what they're doing. I mean, it's a ride. It's like an experiment in film, and awesome. That I think is exciting. It's super innovative.
How was it filming? Like you filmed this during like COVID both protocols and everything. Like how was it? Like describe that.
Yeah. So it was difficult. The crew was amazing. Like following all, you know, because you can't get snacks and drinks as easily. You can't take breaks in the same way. You have to keep a mask on for hours and hours and hours. Like being on set, you're there for hours, and it's great because it's fun and you're all playing, but that's a long time to sit with a mask on. That was difficult, and it was weird going to work and having, you know, a camera op sitting like right behind my head and talking with him all day and having no real idea of what he looked like. That's always bizarre, but it was, I did over COVID, I did a Netflix feature, and Netflix was really, really, really strict. So I had to quarantine in a hotel room for 10 days before. So, I mean, that was, compared to that was extreme. This was easy. They would just, I'd come in, they test, and I'd sit in my trailer until they're like, okay, you're fine, and then go in. But yeah, that hotel room 10-day quarantine was tough. Started to get a little crazy. Yeah.
Was the show, when you mentioned like the filming, was every episode filmed in Boston, or did you have to do other parts in other in other parts of the country, or was everything there?
Everything was in Massachusetts. It was like a full Massachusetts production, which was, you know, for me, so special, and so fun to just travel around to towns I knew and film. And we did, again, like I said, most of it was in this warehouse in the South Shore, but we do certain scenes on location in houses or in shops, and it was kind of nice because of COVID, nothing was really open. So we were able to sort of take over shops or salons or houses and not disturb too much, and sort of get in and get out pretty quickly.
How long did it take to film the whole show?
Say it again?
How long did it take to film the whole show?
We started, I think, in November and wrapped in March, I believe.
That's not too bad.
Yes. No. And we also had a big long holiday break because of people who needed to travel home and take that quarantine time on either ends. So yeah, it flew. I mean, it's 8 episodes. So
So you mentioned the Netflix thing. What was it? Can you talk about that project? What was it that you did?
Yeah, it's it's a blink and you miss me kind of moment, but it's the Adam McKay film Don't Look Up. Okay. And I play a media quant, so I work in a newspaper office, and I basically insult Jennifer Lawrence's character for 5 minutes.
Hey, that's something to brag about.
I don't know what to brag about, but it was a lot of fun. There was a lot of playing and improv there too.
So what's next for you? Any other projects that you got coming out that you're working on?
Yeah, I have some stuff that I'm cooking on. I don't think I'm allowed to say. Okay. But yeah, there's some stuff coming down the pipeline, which again, I'm feeling really fortunate about. Still in this semi post-COVID world, yeah. It's still it's a little dicey for actors right now. It's always dicey for actors, but it's especially right now. And I'm feeling super, super lucky to have some work coming down. So yeah. That's
awesome. So one more time, let's tell the listeners and the viewers where they can watch the show and how can they find you on social media.
Yeah. So watch Kevin Can F himself. Can I swear?
Sure.
Kevin can fuck himself. Kevin can just go fuck himself. You can watch that on AMC Plus. It's streaming right now if you want a little sneak peek. Or you can watch it on regular old AMC on June 20th. I think they're airing both the first 2 episodes on June 20th, back to back. So that's very exciting. And my Instagram handle is, you'd think I know it, but I don't. So let me just pull it up. And it is at Meg_Leathers, which is my name, Meghan Leathers. So yeah.
Meg, this was great. Thanks for coming on the show.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me, Elias.